Good morning. I'm going to do the second part of our lesson, or day 2 of our lesson. Today we're going to make inferences, guesses about our characters in a story, and we're going to answer questions about key details and important ideas. So I'm going to reread parts of Chester's Way, not all of it, and you are going to I'm going to read it twice. The first time, just listen. The second time, I'm going to ask you to think about clues about the characters and what they're thinking. If it tells you, if the clue tells you something about Chester and Wilson. What do you guys remember about Chester's Way? Do you remember that it was just Chester and Wilson for a while, and then someone moved in? I'm going to start at the beginning. And like I said, I'm not going to read all of it. I'm going to stop and ask you some questions. Hello, my name is Chester. I like croquet and peanut butter and making my bed. Chester had his own way of doing things. He always cuts his sandwiches diagonally. He always got out of bed on the same side, and he never left the house without double knotting his shoes. Chester always had the same thing for breakfast, toast with jam and peanut butter, and he always carried a miniature first aid kit in his back pocket, just in case. You definitely have a mind of your own, said Chester's mother. That's one way to put it, said Chester's father. Chester's best friend, Wilson, was exactly the same way. That's why they were best friends. Chester wouldn't play baseball unless Wilson played. They never swung at the first pitch or slid head first. Wilson wouldn't ride his bike unless Chester wanted to, and they always used hand signals. If Chester was hungry, Wilson was too, but they rarely ate between meals. Some days I can't tell those two apart, said Wilson's mother. Me either, said Wilson's father. Chester and Wilson, Wilson and Chester. That's the way it was. They loved to go on picnics once. Once, when Wilson accidentally swallowed a watermelon seed and cried because he was afraid a watermelon plant would grow inside him, Chester swallowed one too. Don't worry, said Chester. Now, if you grow a watermelon plant, I'll grow one too. Chester duplicated his Christmas list every year and gave a copy to Wilson, because they always wanted the same things anyway. I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to ask you, what kind of person do you think Chester and Wilson are? Or I'll make it easier. Did you hear a clue that tells you something about Chester and Wilson? I'm going to reread parts of this. Chester's best friend, Wilson, was exactly the same way. That's why they were best friends. Chester wouldn't play baseball unless Wilson played, and they never swung at the first pitch or slid head first. Wilson wouldn't ride his bike unless Chester wanted to, and they always used hand signals. Did you hear a clue in that page? I did. I heard that Chester wouldn't play baseball without Wilson, and I heard Wilson wouldn't ride his bike without Chester. If Chester was hungry, Wilson was too. I mean, they kind of seemed to be nice to each other, and it seemed like they always liked to do the same thing. They loved to go on picnics. When Wilson accidentally swallowed a watermelon seed, Chester swallowed a seed too. Well, that's kind of nice, I guess. He thought, because Wilson was crying, he thought, I'm going to grow a plant if he grows a plant. Chester always duplicated his Christmas list because he knew Wilson wanted the same things. There's a lot of clues in the story that kind of tell you what kind of character Chester and Wilson are, isn't it? Isn't there? They shared the same umbrella in the spring. They shared the sled in the winter, never threw snowballs at each other. They raked leaves together. Lots of clues on how these characters were. So I'm going to stop right there. And now I am going to read page 10, one page with you, and I'm going to see if you have a clue about what kind of characters Chester and Wilson are. Chester and Wilson was Wilson and Chester. That was the way it was. Then Lily moved into the neighborhood. Did you hear a clue? When it says Chester and Wilson, Wilson and Chester, that's just the way it was. Pretty big clue. It's just them. They seem like really good friends. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to have you turn to your student response book, page 10. And there's two passages. This is the student's response book. It says Making Meaning. And right up here, it tells you it's your student response book. I'm going to read the first passage. So if you'll get that book and turn to page 10, if you need to go and find it out of your backpack, you can pause me and come back. When Lily and Chester and Wilson, when Lily asked Chester and Wilson to play, they said they were busy. When she called them up on the phone, they disguised their voices and said they weren't home. If Lily was walking on one side of the street, Chester and Wilson crossed to the other and hid. She's something else, said Chester. Looks like it, said Wilson. Now, I want you, since we've just done page 10, I want you to underline clues in that passage I just read. Not the second one, just the first one. And what clues tell you how Chester and Wilson were? What gives you clues about them? I'm going to read it again. When Lily asked Chester and Wilson to play, they said they were busy. When she called them up on the phone, they disguised their voice and said they weren't home. If Lily was walking on one side of the street, Chester and Wilson crossed to the other and hid. She's something else, said Chester. Looks like it, said Wilson. Which one of those sentences, or which sentences do you think were clues? I'm going to let you underline that and see, and we're looking for what kind of clues do you think, what clues in here tell you how Chester and Wilson were to Lily? They're different to Lily than they were to each other. Did you underline when she called them on the phone, they disguised their voice? That was a good clue. Chester and Wilson crossed to the other side and hid. There's more than just that, but those are a couple of them. So go ahead and underline what you think are clues. Now I'm going to read the last passage and let you underline yourself. Underline yourself what clues or what gives you a clue on what kind of people they are in this passage. After that, when Lily asked Chester and Wilson to play, they said yes. When she called them up on the phone, they had pleasant conversation. And if Lily was walking on one side of the street, Chester and Wilson waved and ran to catch up with her. Chester and Wilson taught Lily hand signals, and she taught them how to pop wheelies. Lily taught Chester and Wilson how to talk backwards, and they taught her how to double knot her shoes. Well, that was kind of a big change from the first passage I read. So now we're going to underline how they, what clues tell how they are now. Okay, I'm going to let you do that on page 10. Just underline the clues that tell you how they are now, how they've changed too. And if you would read 20 minutes on your own, and that would be the end of your Making Meaning for today. Have a good day. Bye-bye.